And we're going to talk a little bit about your homework from last week. You finished your Little Red Hen story. So if you could get that out and put it in front of you, I want you to look at your Little Red Hen story.
Look for it.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and get that.
Sorry.
Here, I'm going to pull it up on. Here we go.
No, that's not it either.
I see Sophia's, I see yours on Google Classroom, so I can share my screen so you can see it. And I don't see Harmony's yet, but that's okay. You can turn it in whenever you're finished with it. Okay, Harmony?
Oh, I'm already finished.
Yeah, I saw yours. Let me, did you find it, Sophia?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. So since it's just you two girls, so I hear it's kind of odd, but Harmony's microphone is there's like a delay. So I feel bad because when I start my next sentence, I'm hearing somebody talk. So I don't want to miss what you're saying. But did you want to tell me something, either Harmony's mom or dad in the background, or are you just there supporting Harmony?
We're just going to supporting Harmony. That's all.
Got it. Okay.
But she does have her work. She does have the writing done and stuff.
Okay, good. Yay.
She does have the writing done. We're just here to help her when she needs help.
Got it. Okay, that sounds good. So what I want to do is make sure you guys have your dress up words underlined, because we always want to check and make sure that's on the checklist. So if you, let me show you the checklist really quick here. Or you can look at your checklist for the Little Red Hen. There are 1, 2, 3 words you should have underlined in each paragraph. So you should have an ly adverb, a who, which clause, and a strong verb. And I'm just going to show Sophia's because I see hers in Google Classroom. And it looks like you wrote your 3 paragraphs. You see it on the screen, Sophia?
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't see any of your words underlined. So after class today, you should go in and make sure you underline those words. Okay.
I forgot it.
I know, I bet they're there, but I have a feeling you just forgot to underline. So that's super important because that's how I grade your homework. Okay.
Okay.
And then just a little reminder, Sophia, you forgot to double space your paragraph. So really each line should have a space in between. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, you accidentally did it single space. So you got to make sure to leave spaces between all of the lines. Not
I
just,
was going to do that, but my mom said no.
uh-oh, well, I probably need to talk to your mom then, because you were right. You were right.
Mom, she said to speak my words, but I did it because you stopped me from doing it. I need to speak my words. You did.
Well, you guys can talk about that later, okay, Sophia, but just know that you need to have double spaces between all of your lines, and then make sure to underline your ly adverbs and your who, which, and your strong verb, okay? So I'm gonna send this back to you or to your mom on Google Classroom, and you can fix it and then send it back to me, okay?
It took a long time for me to do that.
I know, I was just thinking about that. Maybe you don't need to rewrite it. How about you just underline your words, and then next time, this week's homework, you can double space every other line, okay? Because I know that's a lot of writing and I don't want you to get behind, okay? Does that make sense?
Okay.
So underline your words and then you can send it back to me. And then next time, because we're going to do a new story this week, on the new story, you need a double space. Okay, Sophia? And if your mom wants to talk to me about that, that's okay. I can talk to her about it. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is move on to the next lesson, actually. And I'll give you girls feedback on the Google Classroom with your homework for the Little Red Hen. I think that would be better since I don't have Harmony's yet and Sophia needs to fix hers a little bit, just underlining. So I'll give you feedback on the Google Classroom on your homework. So we're going to move on to the next week. But Sophia, you need to keep your stuff at the front of your binder until you're all the way done, okay? For the Little Red Hen. And then for Harmony, if you're finished with yours, you can move your Little Red Hen information from that week, which was week 8. You can put it behind finished compositions in your binder. And then let's get out the next week. So do you have your binder with you, Sophia? You need your binder. Okay. So you're going to go to this one here, source text tab. Go behind that one. And you're going to take out week 9. And it looks like this, week 9, it says deserts. That's page 71.
I don't know where it is.
You look behind this tab right here, source text. See that tab?
Yeah.
And then when you turn behind that, you should see page 71.
You don't have it like that. You just go by the page numbers. 71.
Got
We don't
it.
have it all
Got it?
separated.
Okay, that's okay. Page 71, and you also need page 73. So you need this one too, Sophia, page 73. And you also need page 75. And, well, page 77 should be here. Hold on a second. Where's my page 77?
Got it.
Good. You have page 77 and then page 79.
Yeah.
Okay. All the way through page 79. Do you have yours too, Harmony? Give me a thumbs up if you have those pages. Good. I see that. Okay. Then page 77 is a yellow page. It's in a different spot in mine. So this was the one I was missing. So make sure you have 77 out too. I found it. It's right there. Okay. Then make sure you close your rings in your binder. Let's start with, we're going to talk about a new unit. Okay, we're moving on to a new unit. So we're going to take some notes together first. So you need a clean piece of paper. Okay, so go ahead and get out a blank piece of lined paper. And we're going to take some class notes together because we're starting a brand new unit and it's going to change a little bit. Okay, so go ahead and put your name here on your paper, right on the upper left-hand corner there. And then today's date is June 19th, 2023. So go ahead and write your name and the date. We are now starting unit 4. So you're going to skip a line and write the word unit 4. Up until now, we have been writing stories. Like the Little Red Hen, you wrote, remember we worked on making a story sequence chart, and you learned how to look for the characters in the setting, the problem and the solution, and then problem and conflict, and then you looked for the solution. And that was how we wrote your stories. We introduced the characters, then the problem, and then how they solved the problem. Now we're going to do more academic writing, which means we're going to learn how to write a report. Have either of you girls ever written a report about something before? Like maybe a report about volcanoes, or a report about Abraham Lincoln, or anything like that. Have you ever written a report before? If not, you can shake your head no. Okay, so this is new to you. This is good. And I'm going to teach you how to write a report, because guess what? You'll probably have to write lots of reports all through your school life, all the way through high school. So this is good for you to learn now. So when you get to an assignment where your teacher or your mom says, okay, you're going to write a report about Mars, then you're going to know how to do it. It's pretty easy and it's kind of fun, I think. So underneath unit 4, I want you to write the words summarizing. It's a big word. I'll write it here. Summarizing and then the word reference. Summarizing a reference. I'll zoom in a little so you can see that better. Big words there. Summarizing a reference. Okay, you can keep writing. I'm just going to talk, but go ahead and keep writing if you need to write that. When I look at that big word summarizing, it's got a lot of letters in it. But if I cover up most of the word and I see S-U-M, sum, I recognize that as a math word. Have you ever had to find the sum of 2 plus 3 before for math? What's the sum of 2 plus 3? Do you know the answer? Sophia, 2 plus 3. What's the answer for that? Yes, you got it. 5. So the sum, S-U-M, means like the answer to a addition problem or plus. So if you add two numbers together, you find the sum. So summarizing a reference, that's a little confusing to me, because when I see sum, I think, well, you're adding numbers and the answer is all of it, right? Well, when you summarize, you're not telling all of the information. You're only telling part of the information. And then reference means the book or the article or something that you're reading that gives you the information. Okay, so for example, I'm going to give you from your binder, you're going to get information about a desert. And it's going to be a lot of information, but you only have to write about some of it. So a better way, I think, to write summarize, you can skip a line, and I want you to put S-O-M-E dash A dash R-I-Z-E, summarize. Summarize. The way they spell it in English makes it seem like it's everything, like the sum of everything, but it's really not. It's this sum, S-O-M-E, and S-O-M-E means only part, not all of it. So I want you to circle that word sum, S-O-M-E, and that just means part. Sorry, Jana messaged me her mom, so. Okay. That's one thing I want you to learn about this. So, and then I'm going to have you draw a little shape before. It kind of looks like a funnel. A funnel is something that's real wide, and then it goes down to a narrow hole. Like if you ever see your mom or dad or uncle or somebody put new fluid in the car, like if it's windshield wiper fluid or if it's oil or something like that. If you're putting something liquid into a small hole, it's easier if you have like a funnel where it starts wide and it goes down skinny. Okay, so it's kind of shaped like this. So if you could kind of draw two angles like that and then go down like that. Try to draw that. It's okay if it's not perfect, but do you see how it's wide up here and then it goes narrower down here, so it'll fit into whatever you're pouring the liquid into. I'm giving you an image of this, okay? So you can visualize what I'm talking about here, because really, I'm not talking about liquid when here, I'm talking about information. But in real life, like for instance, I used to milk our goat, right? And I would put her milk in a bucket because I would milk her. And then in order to get it from the bucket to a jar, I had to use one of these. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to pour anything out of a bucket, but it comes out everywhere. It'll get all over your shoes and the floor, and it makes a big mess, right? But if I have a funnel like that, I can put the jar down here, and then I can easily pour it in and it doesn't spill anything. Okay, so that's liquid, but I'm talking about information. So what if, and at the top here, I want you to write the number 100. Let's pretend I want you to write a report about volcanoes. And I give you all this information, and there's 100 facts about volcanoes. Let's just pretend, okay? Like there's information about the lava. There's information about the ash that comes out of the volcano, the fire, the heat, the temperature, how it affects the city and the people and the animals and the plants and the air, and how all these different things about volcanoes, where they're located. Are they erupting or are they stabilized? All those different things. Well, that's like 100 facts. But when you go to write a report, you're going to narrow down those facts. It might be, you can narrow it down to 15 and then maybe 10. But what you really want to get to is 6. So right here, 6 is what you'll focus on. If I give you a paper that has 100 facts or 15 facts or 10 facts, you're going to narrow it down to the skinny part down here to only 6 things that you're going to talk about the subject, okay? So when you summarize, you're taking a lot of information up here and you're bringing it down to only 6 things that you need to talk about, or 6 facts. Okay, how do you choose 6 out of 100? That's hard, huh? How do you choose 6 things to write about out of 100 things? Well, you're going to choose over on the side here. I want you to put the word choose and a colon like that. CHOOSE. And then a colon. And the first thing you're going to choose is something that's interesting. like my example about volcanoes, maybe when I said how it affects the animals, maybe that's the part where you went, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. What about the deer or the bunnies, the wildlife? How does it affect them? Do they die? Do they have a place to go? Does somebody come and help them? Maybe when I said that, you were interested in that. So for you, you would pick that as one of your facts to talk about, or one of your topics really is what it is about volcanoes. So you want to look for things that you think is interesting. And maybe Sophia and Harmony, you might think different things are interesting, and that's okay, because it's really about what you're interested in. And then you also want to choose things that you find important. So we're just going to add that here too. But number one is interesting. But then you might focus, you might choose something that's important, like where are the volcanoes? That would be important information to include. Okay, I'll let you catch up with that. Okay. And now what I want to do is just give you an example of what your new outline is going to look like, because it's different than the story sequence chart. It's different now. So I want you to skip a couple lines after your drawing, make a little space here, and then we're going to just start with, I'm going to show you how to do your outline. So Roman numeral 1. And then next to that, you're going to put the word topic. And then under that, like we do for our keyword outline, you're going to number all the way to 6. Okay. And then I'm going to have you write a new word to you right here. Clincher. And then I'm going to explain what clincher is in a minute. But this part here in the middle, I'm going to have you draw like a little arrow looking thing like that. And then you're going to write the word facts. So basically you're just copying what I have here, and we're just going to talk about this as we go. Okay. The other thing I want to tell you is, even though I have a 6 here and a 6 here, if you only come up with 5, that's okay. So what I want you to do is put parentheses around the 6 like this. If you find more information you want to include, then you can use the 6. But if you only find 5 interesting facts, then you only need 5. Yeah, that's right, Harmony. So if you have 6, then you can put 6. But I want you to see here the word topic. So let's go back to the volcano example. By the way, if you're writing a report about volcanoes, that would be your subject. And then your topics would be what about the volcano, like what I mentioned earlier, lava and maybe ash, or how it affects animals, how it affects people. Those are all different topics, and each topic has its own outline, which means it's a paragraph, right? This turns into a paragraph after you finish that. Okay, and we're going to talk about that more in a minute, but now I'm going to come back to the word clincher. When I see that word, I think of a crab that has pinchers. You know how they have those little pinchers on their ends of their hands, or they're not really hands, but they're like claws, right? Yeah, you can do that. They're like pinchers on a crab. Well, if they grab something that they really want and they don't want anybody to take it away, any other animal to take it away, they hold on really tight. Has that ever happened to you where maybe you're playing with something and then maybe a little brother or a little sister or a little cousin or some friend wants it and they try to take it out of your hand? It's not very nice, but sometimes kids do that. They don't realize that it's not nice sometimes. And you just hold on to it because you don't want them to get it. You want to keep it. Has that ever happened to you before, where you hang on really tight? So here's what I want you to do. Take your pencil and hold it really tight with your fist like this. See how it's through my hand? Squeeze it really tight with all your fingers, Harmony. Yes, like that. Now try to pull it out with your other hand. You can't pull it out, right? It's really tight. You're clenching it. This is clench, right? So you're squeezing it really tight. Okay, so now that you have a visual of that, in a paragraph, the clencher is a sentence that you're going to use, and it's going to clench the reader. Now, the reader is the person reading your story, and you want it to grab them, right? Not literally like you're grabbing your pencil, but like grab their attention. You're going to clench it so that the reader is like, wow, this is so cool. I want to read more, right? So that's what the clencher's job is. And then the topic and the clencher go together. So I'm going to have you write this down. On the side, in the margin here, wherever it is in your paper, I want you to write the word repeat. R-E-P-E-A-T. And then the word or. Can you guys see that okay? I'll zoom in a little bit here. Repeat or reflect. I'll tell you what that means in a second. You have to write kind of small because I know we're in the margin here. 2 to 3, 2-3, 2 to 3. Key words. That's all. Repeat or reflect 2 to 3 key words. And you girls are really good about keywords. You know what those are. We've been doing that for a long time. Okay, good. Now I want you to draw an arrow to clencher right here. And then I want you to draw an arrow to topic like that. Because this is talking about the topic and clencher sentences. Now, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to do it for you first. I took that off so you could see me better, okay? And I'm going to model for you first what you're going to say, and then you're going to practice with me. So just listen the first time, okay? And I'm going to go like this with my hand at the top. And I'm going to say the topic sentence and the clincher sentence must repeat or reflect 2 or 3 key words. Now, did you notice I turned a key there? That's like if you're opening up a door to your house with a key, or maybe starting the car. Have you seen your parents do that before, where they start the car with a key and you have to like twist it, right? Okay, so that's the little saying I want you to memorize. So now put your hand up like this. There you go. Perfect. Just like that. And now I'm going to say it and then you copy me. Okay. So I'm going to say it first. The topic sentence. Now you say it. And the clincher sentence. Don't forget to move your hand down because now we're at the bottom. Okay. So do that one again. And the clincher sentence.
And the clincher sentence.
And now take a
And the clincher sentence.
I heard that. Now take your fist and say must.
Must.
And then you're going to put 2 fingers together like this, okay? Put them close together like that. And now you're going to make like a curve motion like this. You start at the top and curve down. Good, just like that. So you're going to say repeat or reflect. You say good. 2 or 3
2 or 3
key words.
words.
Open up your hand like for the word words, okay? There you go, just like that. Now, reflect, well, I wanted to go over those 2 words with you. So repeat means the same word, right, Sophia? Like if I were to repeat the word cow, I would say cow, cow. That's repeating 2 times, cow, cow. But if I want to say reflect, if I want to reflect a word, I could say cow and then bovine. I happen to know that's another word for cow, but let's give an easier example like dog and canine. Have you heard that word canine before? That also means dog. So, but they reflect each other. They're like a synonym. Or if I say little and tiny, those are almost the same, but they're different words, right? Little and tiny. So that means I'm reflecting the word. If I repeat the word, I would say little and little. That's the same word, little and little. But if I'm reflecting, I could say little and tiny. Okay, so let's try it one more time. I'll say it and you copy me, okay? The topic sentence and the clincher sentence
And the clincher sentence.
must
Must.
repeat or reflect
Repeat or reflect
2 or 3
2 or 3
key words.
key words.
Good. Yes, and I saw you doing the motion, Sophia. So next time we practice again later, I want you to try to say it with me too, okay? So you got it. You got it. Okay, so back to what we were doing here. Let me show you this again. That's what this says right here. So your topic sentence and your clincher sentence, repeat or reflect 2 or 3 key words. And that is a new skill that you're going to start doing now in your writing. And I'm talking about the first sentence and the last sentence of your paragraphs, at each paragraph. Okay. Now, let's look here what's next. I'm going to give you an example of what that looks like. So I just want you to watch me. You don't have to write this down, okay? So just watch me for a minute. I'm going to show you on my paper what that looks like. Let's pretend I'm writing a story about the desert, which we will. Actually, you know what? Let me rethink this. I think I'm going to show this to you next week, actually. I think that would be better. Because I want you to get started on the assignment. And then what we can do is look at your writing next week, and then I'll show you how to do the topic clincher sentences. So I'm going to wait on that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So the next step that we need to do is actually read our resources, our reference. So this is page 73. It's called The Sahara. Let me back out here so you can see the whole thing. That's page 73. And then you also have one called the Gobi Desert. That's going to be page 75. So you have two sources now. This is new for you because normally you just have one. So there's two different deserts we're going to talk about. And just looking at this page, it's got a lot of words. There's 3 paragraphs here. I bet if I just look at this, there's probably going to be about 12 different facts about the Sahara Desert. But remember, you only need 6 or maybe even just 5, really, 5 or 6 right here. So even though there's a lot, you're going to pick the most interesting from this source. So I'm going to read it, and then together we're going to decide what we think is interesting. So let's just read it first. Move my light here. The Sahara. In a desert, little rain or snowfall occurs, so living conditions are hostile. The world's largest hot desert is the Sahara Desert. The world's largest cold desert is the Antarctic. The Sahara stretches across the whole African continent, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea, consisting mostly of vast sand seas called ergs. This desert mysteriously shifts around all the time as if it were alive. The climate is severe. During the hot months, day temperatures soar to over 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And then in parentheses here, you can see it says 50 degrees Celsius. That's just a different way of measuring temperature, but in the United States, we use Fahrenheit. If water runs underground near the surface, green, fertile places called oases appear. People can live near an oasis on the shores of the Nile River that flows through the Sahara. The ancient Egyptian civilization thrived. Because water is scarce, only about 70 kinds of animals survive in the Sahara. These creatures can live for long periods of time without water. Avoiding the horrific heat of the day, vipers, lizards, sand foxes, and gerbils stay on the ergs in their burrows. I think that's it. There's nothing on the back. Okay. So that's the end of that article about the, oh, just kidding. There is more on the back. So turn your page over. Here we go. There's a little bit more. They obtain water in the foods they find at night. White gazelles and addax or screwhorn antelopes also roam on the dunes. Amazingly, camels, which provide transportation in the Sahara, can go for nearly a week without water. Okay, now we're done. That was a lot of information about the Sahara Desert. And now our job is to go back and figure out what we think is most interesting. Now, there are a couple of words on here that might be new to you, like that word erg. And we read that earlier here. There's a couple of places that mentions it right here, ergs, E-R-G-S. It's an area of shifting sand dunes in a desert. And now shifting just means like moving. The sand actually moves. So that's something interesting. And then, well, we'll go through some of the other words as we go along here. Next, we are going to decide what we think is interesting about this article about the Sahara. So with your pencil, we're going to underline a few different things that we can include in your report. In the beginning, I thought this was interesting right here where it says it's the world's largest hot desert is the Sahara Desert. I think that's an interesting piece of information. So, and you're going to copy me for this one, but eventually when you write your own reports, you get to decide what you think is interesting. But what I want you to do here is just underline this sentence right here where it starts with the world's largest hot desert is the Sahara Desert. Do you see that? Go ahead and underline that. And then a little bit later in the paragraph, it talks about how big it is. It stretches across the whole African continent from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea. I want you to underline that, and then I want to show you a picture on the computer. That's a long sentence, so make sure you underline that whole sentence. The Sahara stretches across the whole African continent from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea. And let me just show you how big that is on a map. Okay. Let me share this with you. This is a map of the world. The whole world right here. So you can see right here, this orange part is the United States. That's where we live. And then, yeah, you see that, Sophia? And then we see Canada. And then we've got South America down here. So this desert says it crosses the whole African continent, which is right here. All the way. Let's see if I can zoom in on this map. Oh, no, a little bit. Yeah, here we go. There we go. It's letting me zoom in a little bit. So it's one desert and it stretches. This is Africa right here. See where the United States is way over here. So this is across the ocean. This is Africa. And it stretches all the way from the whole African continent from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea. And the Red Sea is in here. So here's the Atlantic Ocean. And then the Red Sea is right here. It's not labeled in this one. But basically this whole part of Africa right here is one giant desert. That's big. That's about the same size as our whole United States. Look at that. If I were to move that orange part on top of Africa, it would be about the same size. So it's huge. It's hard to imagine in our own head how big that desert is, but it's huge. Okay, so back to what we were underlining here. I'm running out of time, but we're going to try to get through this. I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to skip this part about the vast sand seas. It's interesting, but I think I know some other things that are even more interesting to me. Like, for instance, this climate. The climate is severe. And I'm going to underline that sentence. The climate is severe. Severe just means like really, really extreme, like really hot. And I know Harmony lives in Bakersfield. And Sophia, what city do you live in? Do you know what city you live in? Is it Bakersfield? Okay, it gets hot there. Like, you know, especially in August, it'll get to like 110 sometimes. But this desert gets to over 120 degrees. So I'm going to have you underline this next sentence. During the hot months, day temperatures soar to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, you don't need to underline the Celsius part because we don't really measure our temperatures with that. Just Fahrenheit. That's just what it's called. It's like inches when you're measuring. That's how you measure degrees. Okay. So here we've got about 1, 2. I'm going to combine those two. So those are probably 3 different facts. And now I'm going to keep going about this underground water oasis. That's pretty interesting to me. So I'm going to underline if water runs underground near the surface. I'm going to underline that sentence too about the oasis. Now, I'm going to keep going because I liked when it was talking about the animals toward the bottom here. That was interesting. So do you see what I'm doing here? We read the whole thing. It had a lot of information, but now we're picking the things we want to put in our report. We're choosing. And now we're going to write an outline from what we underline only, because remember, we're taking a lot of facts and then we're funneling it down to just 5 or 6, really. So we're so far we have 1, 2, 3, 4 facts that are interesting so far. And I'm going to pick a couple more. I really think it's interesting about the animals. So I'm going to skip down here. And it's talking about the animals that can live without water. So this sentence here, these creatures can live for long periods of time without water. I think that's interesting. And then, of course, what animals are in the desert? Let me move this up so you can see it. So I'm going to underline that last sentence here. So here's what I want you to do. Hopefully this makes sense how you're watching it with me here. I'm going to label these sentences. I think that might help you when you go to write your outline. So right here, back at the top where we have the world's largest hot desert, I want you to put a Roman numeral 1 and circle it. Roman numeral 1. It looks like an I, but it's a Roman numeral 1. And then that next sentence, the Sahara stretches across, that one you underline. Let's put a regular number 1. These are going to help you when you go to write your outline. I should have done that as we went along, but that's okay. You can go back and fix it. So we have Roman numeral 1. We have a regular number 1 right here. I'm going to label this number 2 next to the word climate. The climate is severe. Thumbs up if you're with me on this. Yay, good. This one, number 2, I'm going to kind of combine these two. The climate is severe, and then it talks about how hot it is. So we're going to keep both of those things number 2, okay? Over here where it starts with if water, I'm going to put a number 3 there. Down here where it starts with these creatures, I want you to put a number 4 for that one. And then a number 5 right here where it says avoiding the horrific heat of the day, where it starts listing all of the different types of animals there are. That will be number 5. And I'm going to turn the paper because, you know, I think that we can find one more interesting fact. So let's turn this over and look at that last paragraph. And I'm going to put more animals because there are some more animals on the back. And this time I'm going to just underline the animals that I want to mention as my 6th fact. So I'm going to mention gazelles. So just underline gazelles, addax, which is another type of animal in the desert, which you can look up later with your parents, and then camels. So I'm going to call this number 6, even though I didn't underline the whole sentence. I just picked out these 3 animals, gazelles, addax, and camels. That's going to be my 6th. Here, let me move that down so you can see that. There we go. That's going to be my 6th fact that I'm going to include in my outline. Now, your job this week, let's flip this back over to this side. Your job this week is to make your outline. So what I want you to do is get out a new piece of lined paper, and we're going to set up your outline and get that started. So get out a new piece of paper. We use a lot of paper in this class. That's because it's a writing class, so we will use a lot. You know what to do. Go ahead and put your name and the date. My marker. I keep forgetting to get a new marker. And this time, when you skip a line, I just want you to write the word deserts. Deserts. Because really, that's your subject. And you're writing about 2 different deserts, but today we're only talking about the first one. So go ahead and skip a line, and you're going to start your outline and go ahead and put 1. And then write all the way to 6. Okay. And you're writing your first topic here. Go ahead and write the word topic in the margin this time. Okay, that's on the outside here. And we're going to write Sahara, because that's the first desert you learned about, is the Sahara Desert. I'm going to help you with that first Roman numeral 1 here after you write that. Looking back on your article here, this is your reference, right? You have here Roman numeral 1, and it says the world's largest hot desert is the Sahara Desert. So I'm going to choose 3 key words for my outline because the rules are still the same. Only 3 words, but you can use numbers in symbols and abbreviations for free. So I'm going to put, because the Sahara is already there, that's my topic. And I'm going to put the words largest, because that's a key word, and hot. So you already have Roman numeral 1 finished. Sahara, largest, hot. So for your homework, you're going to finish writing the facts here that we underlined, looking at your, oops, let me make sure you guys are done with that. I don't want to cover it. Looking at what you underlined here, this is how you're going to do your outline. So number 1 is going to go here for number 1. You're going to pick 3 key words to write about from your fact number 1 here, okay? Then you're going to go on to number 2 on your outline, and that's going to go with number 2 that you underlined here. Now remember, we did 2 sentences here. Both of those things we were going to fit together for number 2. So you can do something like climate, severe, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, or something like that, okay? And then number 3 in your outline is going to match the facts that you got here from this sentence. Do you understand? Give me a thumbs up if you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, good. So each of these numbers, Sophia, goes with your outline, and we have 6. So I want you to finish the outline, and then I do want you to write just 1 paragraph, okay? Because we got to move through this part of the research and all the summarizing the reference. So next week we'll do paragraph 2, but your homework is going to be to do the outline and the paragraph. Now, don't worry about the topic clincher. You can try to do that, but I'm going to model how to do that next week, and then you can fix it on yours, okay? I do want you to put that word clincher right here. This is just to remind you, but we're going to go over this again next week because I just wanted to teach you the basics of it. But then next week, I'll teach you how to put that together. So basically, you're going to have 2 or 3 words that repeat or reflect in the first and last sentences. So we'll talk about that more next week. Okay, does anybody have any questions about the homework this week? Any questions? If not, you can shake your head no. Sophia, you look like you're thinking. No, you zipped your lip. So remember, each one of these numbers goes with your fact that you're putting here. And then I want you to list key words from each one of those, and then write your sentence. Your sentences, write your paragraph on another piece of paper, and then we'll go over topic clincher again next week. Okie dokie. Well, I know I did a lot of talking today because this is a new unit, and I had to actually teach you about this first. Next week I'm going to have you girls share a lot more, and we'll talk more together. But that's it for today. So I hope you girls have a great day, and I will see you next Monday. Bye. Have a good day, girls. See you next time.